Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we will be diving into the concept of functions in programming. Functions are essential building blocks that helps us organize our code, and also it makes it reusable, and also it improves the readability of the program. Here also, right, in our program, we do have like lot of repetition of this code where we are actually opening the todo.txt, and when we are writing also we are actually using it multiple times, right? Instead of doing that, okay, let's create a function. So as I said, right, it's like a block of code that performs a specific task. So in function, right, we have two things. One is called function definition. When we define a function in program, we actually use def. After that, we'll give a space, and then we will actually give a name of the function. So here we will say like read file, or I can also even call it as like read, okay, task. Then I'll give a open parenthesis and close parenthesis. After that, I will give a colon and okay, and I will give one space in one indentation. Then I will start writing the block of code. Okay, in this case, what I will do is I will copy this opening file part, okay, and then I will paste it here. So here we can also see that, okay, this function is actually trying to open the file todo.txt, and then it is returning this, okay, to-dos. And you can see, right, this to-dos is actually a local variable, means this is accessible only inside the scope of function. Also there is a squiggly error PyCharm is throwing, means like it is not used. Okay, so let me actually define, okay, this to-dos equal to a empty, okay, list. So now what, that's how, right, we define a function. So once, okay, the file has been read, and then it will actually store in the to-dos, okay, list variable. After that, we need to actually return whatever it has read back to the while loop, right? So let me actually I need to write it in the lower case. Let me return, okay, to-dos. So yeah, now this is how, right, we define a function. So this function read task will actually open a file todo.txt, and then whatever contents is there in that file, it will actually store in this variable. Then it will return it back to the while loop. But how do you actually call this function? So now I don't have to actually use the same block of code here. Instead, I need to actually use this function. To use this function, we actually do a function call. This is where, right, we invoke or use the function, correct? So let me actually use the function read task. So yes, this read task, okay, give the name of the function followed by the open parenthesis and close parenthesis. This is how I will actually call the function. Now this function is going to return a variable, that is a to-dos list, right, that I have to store it somewhere. So let me actually store in the variable to-dos itself. So that is one, okay, convention that we can follow to avoid readability, confusion in terms of the readability. Let's change the name of the variable here. So here I'm saying to-dos, right? Instead of that, I'll just put one or, okay, underscore, so that, right, it looks different from what we have inside the while loop. And also while I'm returning, I should also return the same, okay, to-dos. So yes, this is how, right, we will actually use a function. And okay, this part, that we have right now, it is hard coded. Like this is the file path, right, that we always give inside the open function. It's hard coded. So let's define something called like a constant that is called as, okay, file path. And then over here, I will actually give this todo.txt. Okay, over here, I can actually define something inside this function definition parenthesis called parameters. These are arguments or parameters. I can define multiple, okay, arguments separated by commas. Okay, but okay, for the scope of this, okay, read task function, we are going to use only one path. I mean, like one parameter, which is going to be the file path. So now I will mention the file path here. And when I'm calling the function, I need to give, okay, the file path. Okay, so this way, right, this function will be called by this line read task, and it will actually send this file path. This will get received over here. After that, okay, it will open the file path. So yeah, full path will read the contents in the list format, and then it will actually send it, and that will be stored in the to-dos. So this line, okay, we can actually use it wherever you have used the open command. So yeah, over here also, right? This is open, but it is writing lines, whereas that is reading lines, right? So this is a reading task. Okay, so I will just see wherever yeah, over here I can use again the reading. Okay, and similarly, let me check the edit block. Edit block also we are reading it, so I can replace it over here. Also, in the complete, I can replace this section with the to-dos read task file path. And yeah, so now that you have written a function which actually, okay, does the task of, okay, reading lines, let's write another function for writing. So we will follow the same, okay, syntax. Here now I will call it as write tasks, and then again over here I will give the same file path as the parameter, and then okay, again I will use this to-dos here, right, instead of okay, getting only the file path, I will also get what is to be written, to-dos, right, that I have to write it back. Let me go down and copy the writing lines, okay, section of code from here. Let me cut it and paste inside this. So it will get the to-dos, and this file path is what we have defined here, so it remains the same. So I can also replace this. So we have given in this function two arguments. One is actually the path where the file is present, another one is the tasks to be written into that file. So here we don't have to return anything. So this is like a void function, like it doesn't return anything, whereas here it's like a list returning function. So based on the return types, now we have seen like two different functions. A void function which doesn't return anything, another one is like a returnable function which returns a list as a output. So yes, so in the bottom again, after appending tasks, I need to actually write it back, right? So for that I need to use that write function, write task function. So I will say write task. Over here I'll give the file path comma to-dos. So similarly, right, wherever we have this write block of code at the bottom of our program, we can also redefine it. So over here in the edit, we are doing a write Let me replace that with the write task. Similarly, here also we are writing. We replace with the write task. At the bottom, yep. So this is how right we do a function call. For example, if I actually go to this Python console and type something called like help str, something like that, you can see right it gives some documentation. Okay, for that. Let me actually type okay help on print. So it actually now defines what is that okay print function all about. It prints the values to your screen. Similarly, right, if you want to improve the readability, we also need to give some documentation for this function. So to do this, we have to just use okay 3 quotes, and within this, right, you can actually mention what this function is doing. It actually accepts. So likewise, right, you can define in your own language what this function is doing. So similarly, right, I can do for this write task also. So let's say, okay, after this line, let's say like print help, okay, whatever is inside, like print help of write task. We shouldn't give actually this parenthesis here when we are trying to know, like, understand the short description about this write task function. Okay. Similarly, yeah, let's run this and check how it comes. So you can see, right? Uh, so a help on function write task in the module main, and it says, okay, write task function accept the file path as well as the to-do list, and then it writes the list to the txt file. Okay, so that's how, right, we are going to improve the documentation on the code by giving a short description. Now let's see whether the function that we have written, okay, and called is working properly everywhere in our program. So I'll just check the add functionality now. I'll say like add. So it works fine actually. Let me read this. Yeah, we have all these okay functions. Now let me try to read. Okay, reading is working fine. Let me try to edit. 9. I'll say like add, okay, to the call. Yeah, it is working fine. Even edit also working fine. Now let me try to complete. That's in this place also we are using this two functions, read task and write task. I want to complete, let's say, 11th task. Yes. So it's working perfectly. All right. Let me exit this. So yeah, this is how, right, we actually use the function. So in this module, right, we have seen how to use okay write functions, how to call them, how to define them, how to put a documentation on those functions using the triple quotes. These triple quotes are actually also useful to define multi-lined okay text variable, which we will see in the later part of our like application. Thanks for watching.